What's up, everybody? I hope you're having a great week. I hope that the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and you've just got a song stuck in your head that's your favorite song ever, and you're annoying all of your friends with it. My name is Joel, and this week we've got a question from BeastBoyFury, and he asked, when does self-sacrifice actually become self-abuse? What a fantastic question. In our Christian speak, we talk a lot about sacrifice and being self-sacrificial and dying to ourselves. And the reason why we talk about that is because Jesus Christ died for our sins. He sacrificed himself so that we might live, experiencing death so that our sins could be forgiven. So it's pretty much at the centerpiece of all that we do as Christians. Now here's the challenge, and BeastBoyFury really nails it on the head, is sometimes we think we're being self-sacrificial, we might actually be hurting ourselves. And you might see this a lot of times in relationships, especially romantic relationships, where one person believes they're being self-sacrificial. They're laying down their life for what they perceive to be the good of the other, but what they're really doing is hurting themselves. And it's easy to see that from the outside of a relationship, but from the inside, we might convince ourselves that we're actually doing the right thing. So what is the difference? How do I know if I'm being self-sacrificial for somebody versus I'm actually hurting myself and probably in the process hurting that person? There's a couple of things we can ask. The first thing is, am I sacrificing for a greater good? That's pretty key, because if we're not sacrificing for a greater good, then we really have to ask ourselves what we're sacrificing for. So if somebody is in a romantic relationship and their significant other, their boyfriend, their girlfriend is always saying, hey, I don't want people to know about us. What we have is so special. People would never understand. So you don't talk about our relationship. Don't tell people we're dating. Let's keep it all just really low key. You might think, wow, it would be so self-sacrificial if I gave up my desire to let people know that I enjoy this person, that we're dating, and we have an exclusive relationship, if I just didn't say anything. That's probably not a good thing, because the point of dating is that we would one day get married, and marriage, guess what, is public, and people need to know about that. Another way you might be thinking you're being self-sacrificial is if a friend has a drug dependency or an addiction to alcohol or something else that's doing them harm, and they confide in you and they say, please don't tell anybody. And then you say, well, I'll just take the burden on myself. And that would be so self-sacrificial if I held their secret in confidence, if I struggled with them, if I even took their pain upon myself. That's not for the greater good. One, because you're shouldering somebody else's burden that is unfair to you to shoulder. Absolutely help that person and walk with them, but the greater good in that situation is bringing them to someone who can actually get them help. So if it's not for the greater good, it's probably not self-sacrifice. The other thing is, sometimes we say, oh, I'm going to be so self-sacrificial because we actually want something out of it. And that can actually wind up being abusive to ourselves. Why? If we're trying to get something out of it, well, here's how it works. We might say, oh, I just don't want anything to eat for dinner. I'm fasting and I'm being so self-sacrificial. It's Lent, and so I've given up all food except for bread and water. And we're really doing that just to be seen. And as we're doing that to be seen, it's hurting us spiritually because we're performing works for others. And Jesus says when we perform works for others, we don't get any merit from that. We don't get anything from that. The Lord doesn't look on that and reward us. He says, well, you're getting your reward. Other people are praising you. The other problem is sometimes we might think we're being self-sacrificial and it's actually selfish. We say, well, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm lonely, and I don't want to tell anybody. I don't want to burden anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody. And so because I care about my friends and my family and I don't want them to hurt because I'm hurting, I'm just not going to say anything. And that's actually doing harm to ourselves. Even though we think it's noble because I'm not putting my problems on other people, it's still causing us harm. And so that's not self-sacrificial. That's actually harmful to ourselves. So those are two big questions you should ask. You should say, is this leading to a greater good? Or is this actually something I'm doing selfishly rather than self-sacrificially? Or am I doing it out of fear in the case of somebody who doesn't want to share their hurts with somebody else? So that's the line. Self-sacrifice always leads to the greater good. Self-sacrifice is always done without any thinking of ourselves. And if we're able to do those two things, then we get it. If you've got a question that you'd like to know, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Give this video a like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with a friend who maybe is wondering, where is that line between self-sacrifice and actually causing harm to myself? Thanks for the question, BeastBoyFury. We'll see you next week. I just can't get over the name BeastBoyFury. I'm assuming it's like a skater name or like a gamer tag. I think if I don't even think I could come up with a YouTube name as cool as that. I probably would come up with something like Pancake Stack 55. I don't even know.